Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Clark from the Center for Weight Loss Success. On this podcast of Doc Weight Loss, we're going to talk about preparing for weight loss. We're going to talk to one of our psychologists here, our clinical psychologist, Dawn Reese. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. This is Dr. Clark, and today on the podcast, we are going to talk to Dr. Dawn Reese, who is one of the clinical psychologists who works with a lot of our patients here at the Center for Weight Loss Success, works with them before surgery as well as after surgery. Today, our topic of discussion is going to be preparing for weight loss, and we'll hit a little bit of both with weight loss surgery as well as medical weight loss. And Dawn, I'm going to turn it over here for a second. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and kind of how you got involved with me and with all these patients that we have together.
Okay, thanks for having me back. I love being here, love talking with you. I think we've been together now almost 10, 11 years now.
Yeah.
When we first started working together, and you found me in the hospital, and we talked about doing this. I have a PhD in clinical psychology, as you mentioned, and my specialty is behavioral health or behavioral medicine or health psychology. You know, they change the names all the time. But basically trying to help people figure out how to live healthier lives, to do more in their lives of what they want. And when you and I first met, we started talking about what you wanted to do with these surgeries and the medical weight loss program, and that was right up my alley, you know, saying, oh my gosh, we can help people learn how to live healthier, live the way they want to live, and start taking better care of themselves, which is kind of what we probably need to talk about today in terms of getting ready for surgery or getting ready to join a medical program for weight loss, or even just starting your own weight loss program.
Right. It's kind of that we have to kind of change our mindset getting ready. So that's what we're really going for today, is kind of let's work on, or what do we need to work most on when we start contemplating or have that start date of either a weight loss plan or before surgery.
Right. We, you know, you and I talk a lot about this, is people have to take care of themselves first. And that is the biggest thing with all of this, and that's kind of the umbrella that we're going to put everything else under. You have to start taking care of yourself first, and you have to start thinking about yourself first. So in getting ready for any kind of weight loss program, you know, people always make these resolutions or goals after the first of the year. One of them is to start changing your mindset. You know, how are you going to view yourself differently? How are you going to view yourself as a priority? I think that would be the first thing I would say to people.
Right, that priority and that mindset is very important. We often see, especially in our surgical clients, and well, you know, 85% of my surgical clients are women, so, and they're often worried about taking care of everyone else first, and they've put themselves kind of on the back burner, so to speak, so that especially in an aggressive weight loss plan, whether it be medical or surgical, but especially with surgery where there's a definite start date, because that's the date of surgery, is that we need to start shifting that mindset. Obviously, it has to happen after surgery, but we need to start planning for shifting that mindset, making themselves a priority. So you got to make yourself a priority, and it's good to start working on that before surgery.
Absolutely. We want to tell people to not only do we start that mind shift, but we start having them act as if, or the old fake it till you make it. You know, you start, you know, using the smaller plate. You start with the behavioral stuff. You join the gym. I think I was telling you earlier, I had somebody come in a couple weeks ago and say, yeah, I've joined the gym. I'm going to start after surgery. I said, no. We're going to start tomorrow. You know, you start doing these things, and you start behaving as if you started your weight loss surgery program or medical weight loss program. So you do the smaller plates. You start thinking about how I'm going to get my exercise in. You start thinking about how I'm going to take care of myself first, how I'm going to plan plan to cook differently, eat differently, I guess it takes longer to eat sometimes when you're eating after surgery, or, well, we should all take longer to eat probably anyhow. I know, most of us just shovel food in, me included. So those kinds of things, getting mentally and behaviorally prepared for those.
Right, and so a huge part of this, and we often come back to in a lot of these discussions on these podcasts, are talking about planning. And you alluded to that somewhat with the person that, gee, I'm planning on going to the gym, which is a great plan. But you really want to start implementing that plan, even if you're not really able to do it, right? It's not like you can go and join all the classes or anything, but if you set that time aside, and if you actually start beforehand, at least physically going over there, walking in the door, getting comfortable walking in the door, saying, even if it's walking by the class that you'd like to do, looking in there, watching it for a couple minutes, just setting that time aside makes it much more likely that it's going to happen afterwards. So let's just take that thought of kind of that planning thought a little bit further, specifically with some of the skill sets we want to develop after surgery, whether it be with eating skills or whether it be with activity skills. Let's kind of dive into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, planning is going to be key here. Planning on the foods, planning on, how are you going to live your life differently? What are you going to change in your life every day so that you make yourself a priority? Planning that, maybe making a list of what your goals are for that day. Preparing people around you sometimes is really important too, that if you're the cook of the family, well, how is that going to change? And planning ahead on that, planning on mentally thinking about the aspects of how is this maybe going to impact other people, and how is that going to make you feel? We joke sometimes in psychology about it doesn't take 20 days to create a habit. It takes a little bit longer than that. And so getting mentally prepared to do this stuff and then behaviorally implementing it is so very important. So for anything, planning is going to be the key. Absolutely.
Right, because no matter what, whether the medical or the surgical weight loss plan, say if my norm is that, gee, on Friday nights I get together with my best friend and we sit down and we go watch a movie, but that almost always includes getting the big bucket of popcorn or kind of whatever it is, or it includes going out to dinner beforehand or afterwards and sharing this, which is a great part of life. What we want to keep doing those things, but now we've got to change some of the aspects. And to just mentally make that leap and say, oh yeah, it'll happen, it isn't that simple, is it?
Not at all. In fact, what you're talking about, I think, is really important in terms of mentally rehearsing some of the aspects that you'll be changing, imagining yourself at the movies, but not having that popcorn and that large soda. How is that going to look? How is that going to feel? When we talk about preparing athletes for whatever game they're getting ready to go into, we have them imagine themselves in their role. So if you're a offensive lineman in football, we have you actually imagine yourself doing what you would be doing before you ever even go onto the field. And I think that's a great thing we can do here, is how is it going to feel on that Friday night? Let me see how that looks like. Let me see what that's going to be like. So mentally rehearsing, I think, is absolutely wonderful as well. Mm-hmm.
Right. We typically have to work on, you kind of mentally walk yourself through your daily situations. Most of us have kind of a routine we go through. I know I do. I get up in the morning, take a shower, shave, and I get ready. I can literally, if I had to, I could write it out. Step out. This is typically what happens, and what I find is that if my routine gets thrown off, man, my whole day tends to fall apart. So now we're talking about someone who literally I have forced them, either because I've told you you've got to change your diet, or I've just physically done surgery on you, that I have forced some of that on you. You've got to kind of think about, okay, how is it going to change the rest of everything? And a lot of times people don't think about that. And it's sometimes, and when they don't think about that, when that situation comes and hits them, a very common thing is we try to revert back to what our old comfort level used to be, when we shouldn't or couldn't or can't really do that. I guess, important thing to observe, but I guess kind of, so to get around that, I guess where we're going here is, what do I need to do?
Well, when you talk about that, you're absolutely right. When we get stressed, and being out of routine is stressful for a lot of us, when we get stressed, we're going to fall back into old patterns. We're going to go back into things that are comfortable for us. We're going to go back into the known. So we have to start, go back to what you said earlier, planning. We have to start thinking about, what is it that I'm going to do even if I get stressed? How can I not fall back into that pattern? And admitting to ourselves that that's what happens. It's not bad, it's not good, it's not anything, it's just what happens. And it's not a failure, but if you plan for it, you're less likely to fall back into that. You're more likely to say, hey, let me go ahead and get this new routine going, or get the new thing that I started doing going, so absolutely.
All right. And so kind of, let's say I've set this up. I know here's my start date, either whether it be my surgery date, my day I'm going to kick off my weight loss plan. And so I'm going to practice some of these things ahead of time. And it all sounds like, okay, I've got this little plan in place, but sometimes things don't work out quite like we want it. And so as kind of a resource then of kind of bouncing, this is a lot of what you do then. Is kind of, okay, let's get back and let's discuss this. And major part of what you do is helping people figure some of this out, and what to do, and how do we change, and that change in that mindset. It really still goes back to the mindset, and that this is a lot of what you do, right?
Absolutely. Yes, and you can certainly, you're more than welcome to give me a call, or call here and ask for my number, or you can call, can I give my number over here?
Absolutely, give me your number. That's why we got you here.
It's 591-2300. You're more than welcome to call me, and we can sit down one time and meet, or if you think you need a little bit more, we could do that. Absolutely, but it's 591-2300. You can call me, and we can chat about these things, because we want you to be successful. If you're going to start a behavior change, especially weight loss, we don't want you to feel like a failure. We want you to be successful, and mentally is, a lot of it. So absolutely, I'll be happy to help, whatever, and wherever, whenever I can help.
All right, Dawn, this is Dr. Dawn Reese we've been talking with today. I really want to thank you for sitting down with me for a few minutes. And probably the big message here I'd like to say is changing that mindset. We really want to plan for it and practice it ahead of time. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about having surgery, or whether we're talking about just the start date for your weight loss plan. Things have to change. If you really want a good thought that I want to leave you with, change will never occur if you don't actually change. So you can't wait for change to happen to you. You've actually got to be an active part of all this and kind of sort some of these out, because typically the change that happens to us is usually not a good change. So we would like to be an active participant in that. So we really want you to think about that, if I can have that message there. So anyway, Dawn, thank you very much. If you want more information, you can either contact us. We can get her in touch with her. Get you in touch with her. But the phone number here at the Center for Weight Loss Success, 757-873-1880, or the corporate website, cfwls.com. But if you just want more generalized information, access to me, I have a discussion every single week on different various weight loss topics. The website there to sign up there is losingweightusa.com. So that's www.losingweightusa.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll catch you on the next podcast. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.